session. Okay, guys. So I'm going to mute everyone. So if you have any doubts, you can raise your hands and you can unmute yourself. After that, then you can talk to me. Okay. So to avoid the noises, I'm going to mute you. Yes. Okay. Okay. Fine. So in our yesterday session, we were discussed before do recap about our yesterday session. Let me share some information about our institute. Like this is our website, official website. Okay, so you can networkethics.net. This is our official website, so you can explore our website if you want. And those who are going to join this batch, right? So you guys, the recorded video, we will give you the recorded video for all your live sessions for your 1 year access. For next 1 year, 1.5 years, you can access your all live session recorded videos for your future reference if you want. Okay, and you will have a 2 years validity for this course. So if you are going to join this batch, so your duration will be come around 4 months, 4 to 4.5 months to complete all these three firewalls. So Palo Alto itself, it will take 2 months, and FortiGate it will take 4 weeks to 6 weeks, 1.5 months, maximum 6 weeks it will take, and checkpoint it will take 1 month. So around 4 to 4.5 months it will take to complete all these three firewalls. But for you guys, those who are going to join this batch, we will give you 2 years validity for this course, which means so if you want to retake your live session, if you want to rejoin and retake after completion of this course due to some other reasons, right? So you want to upgrade yourself once again for due for the uh, certification purpose or interview purpose, right? So in that case, you can do a rejoin with this all these three firewalls live sessions for next 2 years without paying anything. You don't need to pay for again for a rejoining. You no need to pay anything for next 2 years. So you can use this 2 years validity. So if you want to refresh your knowledge in terms of firewall curriculum. Okay, so in this 2 years span of time, the vendor might be update their curriculum, and the futures might be updated. Technology we can't technology is evolved daily, right? So we can't say this is going to fix. So each vendor they will update some new features in their operating system. So new content, new update will be frequently will come. So in that case, it will help you to upgrade yourself. This 2 years validity will help you to learn new things in terms of all these three fibers. So for that, you don't need to pay anything. Okay. So you can use that advantage, guys. So for you guys, okay. Uh, Apart from that, the recorded video will be given to you guys. So the recorded video you can access from our directly from the our portal. Like if you can go to our website networkethics.net and then go to LMS access LMS button. Just click access LMS. So here it will be redirect to your our LMS application. So here you can go to your courses list of courses, and I will give you like you can see here you some of just a minute. Some of the batch live session recorded videos are there, right? So like that, 48 August, Palo Alto September, like that it is there, right? Palo Alto November, like that. These are all our previous batch students portal. I mean, the courses live session recorded videos. Okay, so like that, we will give you for your batch. We will create a separate course, and we will mention that the Palo Alto March 26. Like that, we'll give you a name and we'll give you the access, and that it will be available for next 1.5 years for your reference. Okay, so you can access all your document. I mean, the necessary documents. Uh, mo- Sorry, guys. So all the documents, course materials, everything will be provided in that LMS application itself. You can access from your mobile. You can download our mobile application in an Android store, an Apple store as well. Okay, so we have a separate mobile application as well, and web application. You can use this link to access your courses, guys. Okay, so so this is the content. I mean this thing I forget to convey yesterday session, so that's why I'm giving you right now. Okay. So coming back to the live session, the content. So I'm going to just give a few minutes recap about the yesterday session. Okay. In yesterday's session, we were discuss about the importance of firewall. We are not, I mean, I just give you the overview, like what is firewall, okay, and why we need that firewall in our organizations to protect their assets, like digital assets. What are the digital assets we have, okay, and why they need why the organization need a firewall, and what type of organization is mandatory to have a firewall. So we discuss about the compliance, right? So each country they have their own cyber security, I mean network sub security compliances, right? So which means security laws. So the organization has to, I mean the organizations must be follow that compliances. So all the nations, all the countries in their cybersecurity laws, in their compliances, they must included the firewalls for the sector, like educational sector, and then healthcare sector, and then bank financial sector, like that. All those who are taking a money from collecting the money through online from the customer's packet. So all the organization must have a firewall to protect the data and the protect the customer's personal data. So that's why all the organization need to deploy the firewalls, okay. And we are so that's why nowadays we have a demand in firewall skill. So we, okay, it is an in demand skill. So if you go for a job portal anywhere in terms of network engineer, or if you're searching for, if you want to become a system engineer or network engineer, right, even nowadays for IT support staffs, and then L1, L2 network engineers, even network engineers, right? So they must to have a firewall knowledge. So you guys are already most of you guys are already working, so you know that already. Uh, so that's why you guys are here, right? So even though I just want to give, I mean, yesterday we were discussed that one why uh, these firewalls are mandatory in organization. That thing I have given you yesterday. We have talked about the uh, compliances, right? So that, and why they need a multiple vendor. So why you need to, so especially we are not only talk about the just single firewall. We just talk about the multiple vendor firewalls, and what is the reason why multiple firewall knowledge need to sustain in an industry. So that and all we were discussed. So as a short note, I just want to give you, like all the in a real time scenario, all organization, they must there are multiple reasons for that. First reason, all the organization will use multi vendor. They will not ready to rely on single vendor. Why? Because if they're ready to rely on the single vendor, single firewall product, that might be a FortiGate only, that might be a Palo Alto only, that might be a checkpoint only, or Cisco FTD only. So in that case, what will happen? So they need to depend on the vendor dependency. So whatever they are demanding on their product features, right? So that they have to follow. And second thing is, if suppose that vendor device, while giving a new patch updates or operating system update or something else, so that operating system might have a vulnerability loophole, right? So that loophole is identified by the hackers, and they want to use it, that loophole, to bypass your production network. Let's say in in your organization they only have a Palo Alto. So unfortunately, they Palo Alto recently given some update. You did the patch update on your organization, but unfortunately that update has some loophole. So that was identified by the hackers, and they use that loophole to bypass your production network. Then they can easily, in your organization it's not a single branch, right? So they might have 100 branches, multi-branches company. You're working in a multinational companies. So let's say they have 100 branches. So all these 100 branches, they have only Palo Alto. In that case, all the branches, your entire infrastructure will be bypassed by the hacker, and your organization resources will be still, right? So they will misuse the data, or they will shut down your main servers to make a loss on your business, or they will steal your data and they will sell the data in a third party, right? So in that case, what will happen? You need to you're not following the compliances. So you need the, if data leakages happen, right? So data breaches has happened in India itself, you have to pay around 250 crore fine. You will be fined. Your organization will be fined around 250 crores. So US and UAE all are having a strict norms. So that's why they are not ready to pay that fine. In case they got affected, one vendor, if they are going with the one vendor, if that vendor is have some vulnerability and that is getting affected by that vulnerability, and then it is bypassed, so they have to lose their data, and they have to, once the the server got crashed or hacked, they will be lost. Your customers say customers good thing, right? So they will lost customers uh, satisfaction, trust, everything. So if you lost your customers trust, and your business not going to happen properly, and along with that they have to pay fine for their governance, right? So they're not ready to face that situation. So that's why they are spending a money to secure their organization, and they are ready to follow the compliances. So that's why in a real time scenario, in an organization they are having a multiple vendor products. Okay, that is another reason, one of the important reason. And then wait, I'll take my pen. And then we talk about the MSP, managed service providers, right? So MSP means, so they are a service provider. Managed service providers means they have a dedicated, I mean, all the organization like healthcare, let's take a one corporate hospital network, right? Corporate hospitals, like where they have a multiple branches, right? So or you can take a universities, or you can take a bank as an example, right? So or you can take a small e-commerce business units, right? So the that e-commerce business unit, I mean that e-commerce vendors, right? So they need to get some money from the customer. So they need to, let's take example like Amazon, Flipkart, like that, one of the third party vendor, Meesho, like that. You can go with a small Meesho. It's a small comparatively. Uh, Amazon, Flipkart, Meesho is a small scale, right? So if let's take example, they are focusing their core service. Okay, so they are not having they will not have a dedicated team to manage their network. So they are not have a budget. Because to manage the network, they need to take a multiple employees. So right, so they need to put the resources on their organization. First, hardware resources they need, and second thing, uh, to maintain that hardwares like firewalls, IPS. So they need a manpower. So they need to spend lot. They need a space. They need to spend a lot of money to manage the dedicated team. Okay, so they are not affordable, since they are a mid size of organization, or they are just startup companies, like that companies, they're not affordable. So what will happen? Even the big enterprise organization also choosing a MSP, managed service providers. So you can take example TCS, Wipro, right? These are all the major Capgemini, right? So these are all the organization providing the manpower. So they are working as they have a MSP. Okay, they are the MSPs. Okay, so sorry guys, they are the enterprise level MSPs. Okay, so they have a huge number of clients, not only from the India, entire world, globally they have a clients. And that client's project is managed by the TCS people, and then Wipro people, like that. So these vendors they will have their own clients, like TCS will have a client in America and Australia, like that. Different organization. The different organization will have a different firewalls, like Palo Alto, one FortiGate, one checkpoint, like that they will have. So as a MSP, they need a well-versed engineer. So they can't take, let's say TCS now they focus one client they have, as an example, they're having a Palo Alto environment. Okay. And Palo Alto and checkpoint, or just we will take example with a single firewall itself for the another scenario. Okay, so Palo Alto only have, and next day they have one more additional project they got, new project they got, and that client have a checkpoint. Okay, and next day they got one more project, and that client have a FortiGate. So in this scenario, if they take only with the Palo Alto engineer, right? So though they are going to take a employee to manage the Palo Alto firewall, since they previously have one project, and with this only Palo Alto. Okay, so now they can't. The engineer can able to manage Palo Alto firewall. He's not able to manage FortiGate or checkpoint. In this scenario, they need to take another people to manage checkpoint and FortiGate engineers. So then only they can able to this MSP will rely on the well knowledge engineers. Okay, because while taking a project, they need to show their manpower who can able to manage that product, right? So that's why they need. I mean, in that particular scenario, immediately they can't recruit the right person for the PAL 48 and checkpoint. So one of the major reason, first thing. And second thing, even though if you're able to recruit that person, so they need to recruit the separate. I mean, let's say they need just an example. Okay. So for FortiGate, they needed two engineers to manage. So Palo Alto, they needed two engineers. Checkpoint, they needed two engineers. So six members, six small team. If it is a small project, six members they need to manage this, but all six persons are not having a knowledge with the multiple vendor product. They have only one knowledge with single product. So that's in case that manpower is not available today, and then the relay the MSP rely on the other person. So, but other person not able to understand the another product. Okay, so this is it will make a huge barrier to that particular MSP. So that's why now MSPs are seeking a people who can able to manage multiple vendor products, so that if he is not available, he can able to manage another product as well. If he has a I mean, he can able to work with a multiple vendor product, and without any hesitation, they can able to get multiple clients and multiple projects. So they will get gain on that. So that's why in the industry, if you check any job portal, right? So industry taking a people uh, from the multiple vendor skill people, they're given a first priority. So in that multiple vendor firewalls, we have a n number of vendor firewalls, not only Palo Alto checkpoint, right? So FortiGate. So we have a Cisco FTD, we have a Barracuda firewalls, we have Sonic Walls, we have a n number of open source next generation firewalls, Juniper we have. But why we specially take these three firewalls? Okay, it's because these three vendors are market leaders in terms of firewall industry. If you take out of 10 organization, 7 to 8 organization will have any of two these products, any of two minimum, any of these two products, Palo Alto FortiGate, Palo Alto checkpoint, FortiGate checkpoint, like that, in that combination. Or even though sometimes they will have all these three firewalls. Okay, so seven, which means 70 to 80% of the market firewall market is occupied by these three giants only. And in so so this is that's why we taken these three firewalls as a killer combo. So definitely you will get a lot of job opportunity and job security in your environment. Since you have multiple product knowledge, you have a lot of opportunity, as well as you will be treated. I mean, your employer will treat you as an asset for the company, because you already have a multiple vendor product knowledge. So you will be definitely will be asset for your organization. So that's why they're ready to pay high for the multi-vendor engineers. Okay, so and you can secure your job in terms of job security, in terms of opportunities. So it will be very high, guys. So all the reason is these three vendors, only top three vendors in the firewall industry, firewall, and all these three along these three products, they occupied almost 80% of the organizations. Okay, which means if you take 10 organization, 7 to 8 organization will have these three products. At least two products they will have. Okay, so you can't avoid these three products, guys. Okay, and so that is the advantage when you are going to have a multiple vendor product. And I mean, multiple vendor knowledge, if you have, that will be definitely your advantage, guys. Okay, and in this three firewalls, as we discussed, we are going to cover one by one. First, we will start with the Palo Alto and Palo Alto. the curriculum yesterday. I just give you overview. Today we will discuss in detailed manner. Okay. So in our course, we are going to cover Palo Alto and FortiGate and Checkpoint. In Palo Alto, we will cover from the basics to advanced level PCNSE certification, and there are two type of certification in Palo Alto firewall: PCNSE and PCNSE. Okay, so in this PCNSE, if you want to get trained in Palo Alto itself, they will cover the this PCNSE concept in the paper called EDU 210. Okay, they will if you want to get trained at to PCNSE level, you need to complete these three training program in Palo Alto Network itself. You have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for that. Okay, okay, for each training program. Okay, so it will take around, sorry, it will be three different papers. So you need to get trained with EDU 210, EDU 220, and EDU 330. Okay, then only you can become a PCNSE certified engineer. You can appear for the PCNSE certification. If you're looking only for the entry level certification, PCNSE, you can go with the EDU 210 paper. Okay, so one single training is enough, and that is cost around thousands of dollars. Okay, so you have to spend if you want to get trained there itself. Okay, and likewise, FortiGate, we will cover entire FortiGate firewall. Previously, that is called NSE 4 certification, but now recently they have updated the certification. So that is called FCP, Fortinet Certified Professional Certification. So that certification you need to get. This is the core certification or core knowledge. If you want to upgrade your skill or certification path in a Fortinet environment, so Fortinet is the brand name. Fortinet is the one of the product in there brand name. Firewall. FortiGate is the firewall name. Actual company name is Fortinet. Okay. So Fortinet have multiple products like firewall product, centralized management device, centralized log collector device. Okay. And then 40 token, 40 authenticator, 40 web security, special product in the web security, web server security. 40 mail, special product to secure mail server. Like that, they have a number of products. Okay. So in that, for to learn any other products, you must have a FortiGate firewall. This is the core knowledge. So that core knowledge, if you want to get FCP certification, then you need to get trained in two papers: FortiGate security and FortiGate infrastructure. Okay. Uh, so if you learn these two papers, then only you can able to appear for the FCP certification. Okay. And in checkpoints similar to Palo Alto, there are two type of certification, which is CCSA, Administrative Checkpoint Certified Security Administrator, and Checkpoint Certified Security Expert. Okay, so so this CCSA is a entry level certification, and CCSA is the advanced level certification in checkpoint. So once you complete the entry level, then only you can go for a expert level certification in terms of checkpoint. But in Palo Alto, you can, if you have a knowledge of these three papers, at least minimum two, you can able to you can go for PCNSE certification directly. You no need to go for PCNSE. It's not a prerequisite. But in checkpoint, it's not like that. Okay. So we left here itself, right? So yesterday, right? So I just give you the overview. What is the curriculum we are going to cover in this session? So in this 3-in-1 Firewall Mastery program. So now from here we are going to continue. So now I'm going to explain you what is the content we are going to cover, what is the content is there in EDU 210, and what is our content. So we are covering all these papers in this our Palo Alto training, EDU 210, EDU 220, and EDU 330. Okay, so like likewise, 48 security and 48 infrastructure, likewise CCSA certification and CCSE certification contents are covered in our curriculum. So that I want to explain what are the detailed curriculum is there inside the each certification, each firewall that we are going to cover now. Okay, so let's start. Yesterday I shared you the schedule, right? So each and every device, each and every vendor product curriculum, and then what is the schedule day by day, what kind of topic we are going to cover, everything I have mentioned in this web link, right? So in this website itself, that I given for your reference. Hope you guys are gone through it, right? So let me show you here. See, this is the link which I have shared you. So now also I will share with you guys. If you are not attend our yesterday session, you will not see this, right? So let me share this link. Just click this link. You can able to get this web page. In this web page, you can go to your Palo Alto. If you want to refer Palo Alto curriculum, you can go just click Palo Alto and under overview. So how many sessions it will take? What are the models we have? Total duration 8 weeks, and each session will be in a 1 hour session, 8:30 to 9:30. Okay, so and each model number one and model number two, like that, each model overview is there in detail in each day, which model we will cover, which topic we are going to cover. That if you want to know, you can just go to the full schedule and you can see for week one, day one, what is the content we are going to cover. Week two, day one, what we are going to cover. Week three, what we are going to cover. Like that, everything is mentioned. Okay, so you can refer that for your reference. Okay, so now as I told you, I am going to compare the actual Palo Alto curriculum with our own curriculum. So what is the content we are covering here? So that I want to show you, right? So for that purpose, I have I have all the firewall curriculum under one page in this PDF file. So each model I just given into the full schedule, like Palo Alto FortiGate. You can go to the FortiGate and you can see the FortiGate daily roadmap. What is that? What we are going to have? What are the models we have, like that? And you can go to the checkpoint. Okay. So you can go to the checkpoint. So everything you can refer. So now to compare each vendor curriculum, so I'm going to use this uh, document here. Okay. So the same thing I have updated in web page. So there is no difference. Okay. The additionally I have mentioned in which how many days it will take and which day which topic we will cover. That roadmap I have added in that website. Okay, that's it. So there is no difference on this. So don't get confused. Now in Palo Alto we have totally 14 models, right? So in Palo Alto now I'm going to compare this content with actual Palo Alto curriculum. Okay, so EDU 210 and 220, 330 papers. So this is EDU 210 paper. Okay, so course model here you can see that course model. Actually, this is talk about PCNSE certification. Okay, if you want to get certified in a Palo Alto network security administrative level, entry level certification in Palo Alto Firewall, then if you have a knowledge of EDU 210 paper, then that is enough to write the examination. Okay, along with some hands-on with the Palo Alto Firewall. Okay, so I think it is visible. Is it visible properly, guys? Or else, yeah, like this. I hope now it is visible. Okay, so you can see that course module, Palo Alto Network Portfolio and Architecture. So here we are in this model. This is the model one, and the same way in this model one, we are having the same content in our curriculum. So here we are covering in this Palo Alto Portfolio and Architecture introduction about the Palo Alto. We will talk about the introduction about the Palo Alto networks, who is in who is Palo Alto Networks, and what are their products they have, what is their main product, and why, what is their in what is the PAN OS, right? PAN OS is the core operating system for their firewall operating system of their Palo Alto networks. Okay, so what is the architecture it is following? We call it as SP3, single pass parallel processing. So now you're not able to understand, so that is fine. So I'll teach you in the I mean upcoming session in detailed manner. Okay, and we also discuss about some when firewall product. So Palo Alto is not only having a firewall product, so we'll discuss about the other product as well. And as well, in firewall itself, they have a hardware-based firewall and cloud-based firewalls, software-based firewall. So we will discuss some hardware models like 400 series firewall, 1000 to sorry 600 700 series firewall, 200 series firewall, and then 7000 series firewall, 3000 series firewall, 5000 series firewall. Like that, different kind of family hardware family we have in Palo Alto. Likewise, in VM50, VM100, VM 500, VM1000, like that, we have a different family we have. So that and all we will discuss. So in what is their capability, what is that we are going to discuss about the hardware and software VM based devices capability and data sheet we will discuss. Why? Because so when you're saying that I have worked with a Palo Alto or I have a hands-on with a Palo Alto, when you go for an interview, definitely they will ask you, you have worked with what type of hardware family or what type of machines you have worked, and what is the data sheet. I mean, the data. I mean, what is the hardware specification on that, or what is the software specification on that? What is the capability? So, what is the throughput of that particular device? Like that, they will ask you if there is a chances. Okay, so they will ask you to identify that whether you have a hands-on on that or not. Okay, so simply they will use that simple question. So and so to prepare you on that, we will discuss about this in detailed manner. So that will help you to crack your interviews. Apart from the interviews, our perspectives to make you guys as a security architect. Okay, firewall security architect. So when you become an architect, right? So maybe a network security consultant, or maybe you may have a 10 years of experience. You want you after learning all these three multi-vendor firewall product, you can become a technical manager role. So you can enter into the technical manager role. So in that case, when you work as a technical manager, you are going to deal with the client. So the client in MSP. Okay, so in clients, sometimes then your new project, new deployment will come. So in that case, so client will ask you what type of you need to suggest what type of product is best, what based on their need, based on their budget, right? Based on their current size and the future size of the organization, right? So everything you can able to you can able to mention. I mean, you can able to I mean, you need to keep it in your mind why suggest one product to your client. So you in that case you need to know multiple other, I mean, multiple vendor devices, as well as each vendor devices you need the hardware, available hardware and software models, and then only you can suggest the best thing to your clients. So definitely not only for the interviews perspective. So if you are become a consultant, if you become an architect, or if you become a technical manager, where you are going to talk with your customers, right? So in that case, suggest to suggest the best thing to your customers, it will help you. Okay, and after that, connect to management network. So this is here we are going to talk about how to manage, how to access the console of your Palo Alto firewall very first time, and how to manage your Palo Alto firewall through CLI, GUI, what are the administrative access we have, how to restrict the multiple admin user access, how to restrict the privileges for each administrator. In an organization, the firewall is not only managed by a single administrator. The organization have a dedicated team to manage the firewall, right? So that team members, based on their job perspective, based on the job perspective, they will access your Palo Alto firewall or FortiGate firewall, checkpoint firewall. So each members, let's say someone from the dedicated, some organization they have a dedicated team for the VPN protocol, to manage VPN. Some organization they have a dedicated team to for a new type of deployment, patch updates, deployments, like that. Okay, so some organization and also some dedicated SOC team, right? So to manage your logs, to verify your logs, so audit team, SOC team will access your Palo Alto firewall or FortiGate firewall, checkpoint firewall, whatever. So different kind of people, network team need to access your Palo Alto firewall to manage. routing and SD-WAN related features. So different members will access your Palo Alto firewall. So we can't give full access to all administrators, even though they are from our own employee, but they are belongs to different team. So the restriction must to be have. So under management net, they connect to the management network protocol. I mean the module. We will discuss about the how to access your Palo Alto firewall very first time, as well as how to manage as administrator, how to manage your Palo Alto firewall in a secure way, how to restrict the admin access, and that and how to manage the configuration files like taking a backup. Sorry, that is one here. So I have included all under module 2 in our curriculum, like management. How this is one for how to connect your Palo Alto firewall in your management network and how to access your firewall very first time. Okay, so this is the second model, simple model they have it. And third model, how to manage your firewall configuration, how to take a backup, restore, and then what type of configuration files they have, like uh, candidate configuration, running configuration, what is configuration versions. So the like in Cisco devices, you guys are already aware, right? So running configuration, right? And then running configuration is a temporary configuration, right? So once if you are switched off your hardware, it will be erased. So you need to store your configuration on your permanent configuration file, boot up configuration, right? So the same way, so in Palo Alto, we have a different kind of configuration. So one is candidate, another one is running configuration. Here, candidate configuration is a temporary configuration file. Running configuration is the permanent configuration file. So in Cisco startup configuration, only the permanent configuration file, right? So, and so likewise, how to manage this configuration files, that is talk about in module 3 in the in the EDU 210 paper. Okay. And module 4, it's about I mentioned that, right? So administrator privileges, how many you can allow multiple administrators, multiple team members to access your Palo Alto firewall simultaneously, and so we need to restrict that. So previously, as I mentioned, the audit team, and then secure, and then SOC team, network team, deployment team, firewall deployment team, or maintenance team, right? So they need to access your firewall for different perspective, for different reasons and different team members. Sometimes you need to allow your Palo Alto firewall to access Palo Alto tag members, right? So we need to give a restricted access. So that and how to create a multiple admin user account with a limited features, limited access. That and all we will see under module 4. Module 5, it's about how to deploy your Palo Alto firewall in a live production network. So uh, before that, you need to update your licenses, you need to do patch update, you need to register your product, that and all before deploy your Palo Alto firewall in your production network. So model 5, it's talk about that as well, along with based on your need. In Palo Alto firewall, we can deploy in a different perspective. You can deploy as a perimeter security device, like which means gateway firewall. You can deploy as a secure switching environment. Okay, layer 2 deployment. You can deploy as a layer 3, which is gateway and switching environment. If you want to secure your switching environment, or if you want to secure your with inside local LAN, in your LAN, you have multiple servers. So if you want to secure that, then it is possible to do by you deploying in a layer 2 mode, and we call it as a virtual wire deployment. So where in your this virtual wire deployment is help you to manage your existing network without changing anything. So let's say in my organization I have a ASA firewall or Cisco traditional firewall something, and this is my existing network. I don't want to make any changes. If I'm going to replace this firewall, I need to do modification and changes in my existing network, but I don't want to do that. So uh, but still I want to use Palo Alto firewall to secure my environment. In that case, you can go with the virtual wire mode without making any changes in your live production network itself. You can do it immediately. That is the advantage. So now you can't able to understand what is virtual wire. Okay, I just give you the idea, but it is not. I mean, if you are very fresher, I mean, if you're not working with the firewall, any firewall, so you will not able to understand this. That is fine. Okay. So I just give you the overview. What is virtual wire? So virtual wire is the deployment option. You can use this by using this deployment option, you can, without changing your existing network, any changes, without taking any additional risk, in a live production itself, immediately you can deploy your Palo Alto firewall without any interruption. Okay, so that is the advantage of virtual wire. So you still, it can act like a full-fledged firewall. Okay, and then you can deploy as a transparent, I mean, sorry, tab mode, which means you can use your Palo Alto firewall as a IDS, not IPS. IDS means it will detect the vulnerability, attacks, anything in live in your live production network. It will do deep inspect and it will identify that, but it will not take any action against that virus or malware because it is deployed as a IDS. Okay, so you can deploy your Palo Alto firewall just like IDS. It is we used in a live production network in a monitoring, okay, audit purpose. Okay, monitoring purpose. They will use it in a live production network as okay. So these four type of deployment you can do it for different scenario, different use cases. That and all you will learn in the model 5. Okay, and model 6 about your, here comes your IPS functions, your firewall, your Palo Alto firewall with IPS functions. So which is, if you want to block the traffic based on the uh, okay, sorry. This is a theoretical thing. What is cyber attack and how it is happening? So this model, okay, this is basic thing. So and model 7 only they start to deploy your Palo Alto firewall in a live after decide which type of deployment they are going to use. And after decide that, they will start to create a rule, security policies, and they will start to deploy the IPS rules like antivirus profile, application control, URL filter, file blocking, data leakage protection, everything one by one. So whatever I mentioned, so one by one is there, right? So first they will use a normal security policy to just block the traffic, and I mean to just filter the traffic. They are not going to do deep inspect in this model. Okay, just use a normal filter. Okay, they are not going to do deep inspection with the special features like antivirus, that and all. Okay, so here they will use that antivirus and anti-malware, spyware features to detect the attack and or vulnerability. Okay, and everything. This is about if based on the IP address or based on the user, if you want to block or allow, right? So that we can do it. So model 7, model 8, model 9, model 10, it's purely talk about the firewall functions where they can able to block the traffic, control the traffic based on their need, based on the source IP, I mean destination IP, destination protocol, services, and then application, and then they can do deep inspect again the virus, malware, spyware. Okay, and then they will identify the traffic based on the user access. Okay, identity user. So if you want to allow your internal LAN users in your LAN, you may have a multiple teams like sales team, technical team, support team. So I want to allow sales team only to access the internet. That is possible by this identity-based features. Okay, and device-wise, you can. I want to allow only the Windows-based OS to access the internet and to detect the viruses or malware, everything. Okay, so that is device-wise identification is possible, which means some organization will give you the hardware, right? So to act for their employee. So they want to connect their organization network with their own device, secured device. So in that case, device identification, they will do it. Okay. So this features you can able to implement. And then unknown threat means if you're not aware about the virus or any known virus, it is not from the known virus or known via or predefined rule or in your rules in your firewalls you're not defining that anything like if you know that specific protocol have that particular vulnerability or particular virus or malware that we already defined. If we are not defined, sometimes your firewall will not able to understand. In that scenario, if you use the feature called wildfire, even though that if your firewall is not able to identify that virus or malware, this is the cloud-based feature data center where they're having a lot of IPS signatures against the previous, I mean, the previous type of attack and modern type of attack, new day, 0 day attack. We will talk, sometimes we call it as a 0 day attack. So in a internet, the new type of attack is uh, spreading over, right? So in that case, your firewall can identify that. I mean, your firewall normally it is not possible to identify that, but if you have a wildfire subscription, that license, so you can able to send your that particular traffic to wildfire engine, and wildfire engine will do deep inspect, and it will identify that virus or malware, and it will protect your environment. So how it is working under, it is a separate session we have. So the working principle of wildfire, so that we are in that time, I'll let you know in detail, manner, guys. Okay. Likewise, how to deep inspect the encrypted traffic. If the traffic is encrypted, your firewall is normally not able to identify that the encrypted traffic will contain any type of virus, malware, spyware, right? So we are not aware what is the actual traffic is going on inside that. So in that scenario, we need to decrypt the traffic, and we need to monitor that traffic. So here we call it as a decrypt. This is we used called decryption profile. Okay. So this will help us to identify the activity of the encrypted traffic in your live production network. Okay, and then if it is happening with any type of credential theft, right? So locally in your network or in that particular device, so that and that it will protect your environment by using the IPS engine only. We use all these features. Okay, and then finally, so from actually from model 9 to 20, 19, you're going to entirely use your Palo Alto firewall next generation features such as called application control, URL filter, file blocking, data leakage protection, anti-spyware, anti-malware protections. Okay, so and then user identification features, captive portal. Okay, so these features they will use to these are all the I mean except captive portal. Other features are IPS functionalities, which means we call it as a next generation firewall features. So next generation firewall features. These are all next generation firewall features. So all this we start to use from the model 9. Sorry, yes, from model 9 we will start to use all this feature. Okay, so all you will know how to configure your Palo Alto firewall to secure your organization for the day-to-day activities. Okay, so just as a configuration part, and this is all about your Palo Alto firewall, PAN OS. You're just managing the PAN OS, Palo Alto firewall. That's it. Okay. So this is called EDU 210 paper, guys. Okay. And all this topic will be covered here. And only to you after completion of this, you'll able to manage Palo Alto firewall. Then next paper we call it as a EDU 220. So this is another product, not Palo Alto, not only Palo Alto firewall. It's another product which is called Panorama. Okay. Firewall management. So Panorama, it's a dedicated product where you can manage multiple Palo Alto firewall under one roof. Let's say you're working under MNC company where they have 100 branches in a different location. All 100 branches, they have a Palo Alto firewall. So you want to manage all those Palo Alto firewall under one roof. You have a solution called Panorama. So if you have a Panorama, you can manage, you can create a policy in Panorama, and you can deploy that policy in your every branch's firewalls directly. Okay, you can create a shared policy, shared objects. You can create as IP address as object. You can create a NAT rule. You can create a security policies. You can create application control rules. Anything. Okay, and also if you are doing, let's say, one of the one of the beautiful advantage of the Panorama. Let's say now Palo Alto give some patch update on their PAN operating system. So when you're doing, so we need to do patch update on our 100 firewalls. So if you're doing that manually, you need to go each and every separate firewall, and the same task you need to execute 100 times, so which is time taking process, and it might affect with the man manually you're doing it, right? So human error it might possible. But when you have a panorama in that organization, so all this 100 firewalls can do it by the update, can do it by the panorama, and single click, single tap. Just one time you are going to perform. You're going to push the update from panorama to Palo Alto firewalls. Just few clicks, one or two clicks, right? So all this 100 firewalls simultaneously it will get patch update, okay, or operating system upgradation, right? So or you the antivirus profile database update or application control database update, like that, any type of updates or any type of patched updates, any type of operating system upgradations, right? So anything can be done by the help of panorama immediately. Okay, all 100 devices, not only 100 devices, you can do it more than 100 devices. Okay, everything you can do it in a few clicks. So that is the one of the most useful advantage of the panorama, not only just used for the Palo Alto, I mean, patch updates or operating system upgradation or license. And then the main part is renewing or renewal your licenses. It's a weird thing. So when you have 100 branches, so all that 100 branches, you need to do it license update again and again manually. Okay, which is frequently we will do it sometime. Okay, so in that case, it is time taking as well as it is a weird thing. So when you have a panorama, you can do it similarly, just few clicks. You can do license upgradation within a few clicks. That so it will uh, reduce your time, okay, and your burden as well as administrator. Okay, so and along with you can also create a policy and deploy the policies group of the Palo Alto firewalls. You can create, you can manage, and you can create a shared policy, objects, services, everything. It is possible, and that is the added advantage when you know panorama. So yeah, all the in an organization definitely they will have a panorama, not only Palo Alto firewall. So when they have a multiple branch companies, so they definitely if they have a Palo Alto firewalls in their organization, definitely they will also have a panorama. Okay, so that is the on-demand skill. So it will, so to learning panorama will lead you to write the examination and as a PCNSE examination as well. So in panorama, how to do kill config. Very first time, if you have a panorama, how what you need to do, how to access the panorama console, and how to add your Palo Alto firewall, and templates and device groups or templates will use to manage your security policies and objects. Okay, device group will help you to manage other firewalls. I mean, it will help you to manage your hardware network related configurations. Okay, interface related configurations. So that you can able to do it on the device group. Okay, so also your Palo Alto firewall, I mean Panorama, not only centralized management device. You can also act your panorama as a centralized log collector. All your 100 branches, firewalls, logs, if you want to store under one location, so you can use same simultaneously. You can use panorama to collect the logs. So and you can manage the logs from the panorama. All your branches, firewalls, logs. Okay, and how on that and all we'll discuss, and how to manage your panorama with the different administrative access and all. Okay, so that is covered under EDU 220 paper, guys. Okay, and the finally, so EDU 330 paper, which is talk about the troubleshooting. So EDU 210, it's purely talk about the manage your Palo Alto administrator perspective, how to configure and manage your Palo Alto firewall, and Panorama, how to manage your all Palo Alto firewalls under one roof. Okay, and here only expert level. So any issues, hardware related issues, or protocol or configuration related issues. So that you are going to learn from EDU 330 paper, which is talk about troubleshooting. So here what are the Palo Alto tools and resources we have to troubleshoot? How to capture the packets? What is the flow of the packet flow, right? And how to capture the packet, and how to handle the incoming traffic troubleshoot or outgoing traffic, right? So troubleshoot, and then in case a Palo Alto, sometimes Palo Alto relay some services based on the third party devices, like uh, you are going to uh, if you're applying the user ID, if you're applying the user ID features, you need to integrate with your Active Directory server. Okay, and some DNS services need DNS server you need to attach, right? So system if tag server you need to add in your organization if you have, so that will be attached. So the some third party related services, right? So if your Palo Alto relay under some other to deploy your Palo Alto features, sometimes it need to relay under other services like Active Directory services, DNS services for resolution purpose, right? So in that case, if any problem is happen in that particular third party devices, so you how to manage, how to connect the third party devices into your Palo Alto firewall, that and all we'll discuss under system services. Okay, and then you if you're having any how to troubleshoot your user based authentication, other protocols, everything we will discuss. Use GlobalProtect about your VPN troubleshooting. IPsec, sorry, SSL VPN. GlobalProtect is nothing. It's a application, Palo Alto based application, which help to establish the SSL VPN. Okay, so how to troubleshoot the SSL VPN, that and all you are going to see under this. And if you have a hardware related issues, right? How to raise the ticket on Palo Alto customer tag, and how to if you have a warranty, how to replace your hardware, how to reach hardware related issues, how to reach your hardware team, dedicated team called Ramas. So that and all you will learn here in this EDU 330 paper, guys. Okay. So let me show you now. Let me compare our curriculum. So platform and architecture, model number one, introduction to the Palo Alto firewall and next generation firewall features in Palo Alto. What is the PAN OS features? What are the features we have? And hardware mod, whatever. What is the SP3 architecture and what is the hardware model? We have everything we'll discuss. In model two, about device management. Initial when you're getting a fresh Palo Alto firewall, how to access the console, how to register your Palo Alto firewall into the TAC account, and how to do patch update, license update, and how to manage the configuration files, how to take a backup and restore. Uh, Under admin privileges, we are going to allow we can allow multiple admin user account to access the Palo Alto firewall simultaneously. In that case, if you don't want to do any conflict on your Palo Alto firewall, so you have option called locks, configuration lock, commit lock. So configuration lock will help you to block other administrators configure something on your firewall when you logged in. Okay. And the commit log will allow the other administrators to configure, but it will not allow to save that configuration until unless the root administrator allow that privileges, or until unless that log who take the log commit log, he has to release that log. So about this detailedly we will discuss in a live session. Okay, so this features everything it is related to the device management, so that we will discuss under model 2, and high availability. So it is totally, if you talk about the if you take Palo Alto EDU 210, EDU 220, and EDU 330, they are not having a concept called, I mean, they are not mention the high availability as a topic. So we added this high availability topic because in a real time scenario, we need a backup for the device. We need a always available on your network, right? So we need backup and redundancy. So in a real-time scenario, we'll use this approach. Okay, we'll use this approach. So how to configure Palo Alto firewall with the redundancy in active passive mode. Active passive mode means one firewall will be in active mode, other firewall in a passive mode. So all 100% of traffic will be passed through active firewall, and passive firewall will be in a listening state. If active is goes down, then only passive will become active. But in active mode, both the firewalls will take care of the live traffic. 50% of the load or 50% of the load will be taken care by each, and one is getting failed, another one will act like a redundancy to each of them. So active one is down, all this immediately active two will take care the active one firewall's traffic as well. So this is called active deployment. Okay, so where they have a heavy load in that scenario, they will go with the active deployment. Okay. And then how to verify the logs, how to manage the logs report, how to see the log report, right? So log that and all. I mean, log management we will discuss under device management part two. So the high availability will we will be taken in the middle of the session, not earlier, since it is there, even though it is there in the module two. So without knowing the other configuration, without transmitting the traffic in a live product, I mean, in that your firewall, data traffic in that firewall, you can't check the high availability. So that's why in a schedule, I have added your high availability topic in the almost, you can see that almost the last before week, okay, week 7, I have added so that only you can effectively test that. Okay, so so and model 3, as I mentioned, the deployment option. So before deploy your Palo Alto firewall I mean into the live production network, you need to decide what type of deployment you're going to deploy as a gateway device in your network. You're going to deploy as a uh, within your local network LAN switch, as a switch. You're going to deploy to secure your LAN scenario, or you're going to deploy in your existing network without making any changes, right? So, or you're going to deploy only for the monitoring purpose, deep inspection without any action, right? So, as if you're going to deploy as an IDS, so that decision you have to take. After that, only you can configure whatever based on your need. You can configure, you can use the features. So, first, we will start with the layer 3 deployment, and we will use all this Palo Alto features. Then, after completion of that, only we will go one by one other deployment option, layer 2 deployment, virtual wire deployment, right? So, that and all. We will go after learning almost your all other pan OS features only. Okay. So, and model 4, so that you can see under here. So, initial configuration, layer 3, I mentioned that layer 3 interface deployment. Okay. And after that, we will see all under module 3, layer 3 interface. Only I have chosen in the day 10. From day 11, we will use after deploy as a gateway firewall. We will use other for Palo Alto firewall features. Then only we will go to the after utilize after knowing about all your pan OS features and utilize it in a layer 3 mode, then only we will come back to the other deployment option. So layer 2, virtual wire, tab, that and that. Okay. The features can be deployed easily. Then only you can able to understand, and then only you can deploy easily based on your organization need. Okay. So and model 4, above the security policy and NAT feature. So how to configure your basic security rule without inspection, IPS features. How to allow or deny the traffic based on the traditional filtering, layer 3, layer 4 filtering. Okay. Right. So you can also and then you are going to discuss about the NAT. So when you're accessing the real internet, so model 4, we will start to use the real internet, real application access, just like a in a real-time organization features. Okay, and then we will implement the NAT. In Palo Alto, we have a different kind of NAT. So source NAT and destination NAT and U-turn NAT. So you might aware about source NAT and destination NAT. So, but maybe you are aware about U-turn NAT, or your if not, you can now you may be aware dual NAT. So if you are aware with the chip ASA, you might do it dual NAT. So that dual NAT is called UTNAT, and UTNAT we will implement to allow our internal employees to access our web servers with the public IP. I mean, not only web servers, our servers directly with the public IP access URLs. Okay, so in that scenario, we will implement Uternet. So now, so you that now you can't able to understand. That is fine. So just leave it. So NAT, I just want to convey like what are the type of NAT we will implement. Source NAT, destination NAT. In source NAT itself, we implement static NAT, dynamic NAT, and in Palo Alto we call it as a PAT. We call it as a DIP, dynamic IP and port. Okay, DIP input. PAT is nothing. I mean, DIP is nothing. It's actually PAT configuration only, but terminology and application is different in Palo Alto firewall. So we call it as a DIP. DIP itself, we can use it implement in a different way. You can use it your own public interface IP, or you can use external IP. Application. So let's say your organization want to allow Office 360 only to access. Let's say a TeamViewer something, or let's say Microsoft RDP only they want to allow. So that specific applications you can control and you can allow by the help of application. Not only specific applications. Okay, in that specific application, let's say if I'm good, I have a sales team. Sales team need to access the social media to promote my products. So inside the social media, I want to allow them to access Facebook to promote my product, to share something about my product, and to contact with my customers. Okay, so I just want to allow Facebook post sharing. Inside that Facebook it's a collaborated application with a multiple micro application features like Facebook call is there, voice call, video call, game, right? Chat, right? And then Facebook file sharing, a lot of things is there, right? So I don't want to allow my employee to chit chat with someone in a chat with someone in Facebook. Okay. Or I don't want to allow them my employee to upload some video, unnecessary videos files or something. Or I don't want to allow my employee to play game in Facebook. Right. So micro level control. I can allow Facebook to access or to promote my product, but I don't want to allow Facebook chat, video call options. Okay. So I can control it. It is the biggest advantage of Palo Alto. So the Palo Alto is this is the known best, one of the best reason why Palo Alto become a market leader. This feature is other firewalls also have this feature, application control, but in terms of micro level application control, works heavily in Palo Alto properly. It's giving a proper output, right? It can also monitor that micro level communications. Okay, even though the application is deployed in a modified ports, unknown ports. So it can able to deep inspect and it can able to identify that what type of application is this. Let's say RDP, as for simple example, RDP access, you are taking a remote control of this your organization devices. Okay, so double Windows RDP use 3389 port number, but some services, right? Some, I mean, hacker used a different port number. So instead of 3389, he used 8080, right? To take a remote access. So to modify that. But normal scenario, all firewalls will identify the port, and with the port number 8080, it may be different services. Or port number 440, it may be web services like that. It will identify that if that allow it, the traffic is allowed, simply allow it, but it it will not, and it will not able to identify that what is the application really it is. Okay, or even though when it is trying to detect the application control, it will partially check the main application. Okay, internal sub applications or micro application activities not able to verify properly, and even though if the application is use a different port number, it is not able to identify properly. Okay, but Palo Alto, if user use or attacker use a different port number for the actually the port number used, the main port number is 3389, but core port number, but attacker use a different port number with a different application accesses. So to bypass your firewall, but Palo Alto will examine everything inside. So it will do deep inspect with the irrespective of applications. Okay, so that's why it can able to produce the maximum output in terms of application based filters. Okay, so that is the main reason Palo Alto become a market leader in a for past 1 decade. It is ruling the market. Okay, it's in a top position. So now Palo Alto and FortiGate flipping their position frequently. Why? Because Fortinet is giving a SD-WAN features for free. Okay, so that's why now it's become a. I mean, the market is flipping the place number position. Number one position is flipping like that. Palo Alto sometimes FortiGate sometimes, but previously in the previous past 1 decade, if you check the past 1 decade history, Palo Alto is the first place. Okay, and all it's because of this feature. This is a 50% of the reason for that. Okay, the another 50% is throughput, solid throughput. It can able to give maximum output, maximum data can able to process than comparatively than any other product, any other vendor product. If you compare the same segment, okay. So for that reason, Palo Alto become a market leader. Okay, so anyhow, so we will use that application ID features as well. So all platform, device management, interface configuration, security policy, and ad policies. User ID will use to manage the traffic based on the user. So if you want to allow in your, as I said, in your organization, you have user ID based features. So you, so yes. So and against the virus, malware, spyware vulnerability. Okay. So and it will do I mean, it will decrypt and inspect. Okay. So it is all about your modern IPS features. So we call it as a next generation firewall features. Okay, all along with user ID features and application ID, application control feature also. We call it as a next generation firewall features. Traditional firewalls will not have these features, so they can able to control the traffic based on layer 3 and layer 4 only, but not apply layer 7 based. Okay, and user based as well. So all the right URL filtering. So if you want to block websites, any specific website or cat same set of website. Let's say I want to block the financial related websites, or I want to block the uh, um, gambling and illegal websites. So that is possible. We have n number of websites, gambling and n number of gambling websites. So we can't manually can't block it one by one. So you can able to block the same set of any specific URL or same kind of URLs you can able to block it. Let's say I want to block the social media streaming medias like YouTube, Hotstar, like the Netflix, like that. So I can't. We have a number of streaming medias, so that we can't simply block manually one by one. Even though if it is possible, in a daily basis, new type of streaming app URLs applications are coming. So in that case, it is not suitable. It is not fixable easily. So I want to block the similar type of websites. In that case, we have option called a category based filter, similar type of applications. So we have a category based filters. So in that case, you no need to worry about the upcoming new type of applications. So we the similar kind of categories we can be block it. Okay, so automatically by the help of category based filters. So that we will discuss in detail manner what are the categories we have, how it is classified and how it is updated, everything. Okay, and then it's about decryption. SSL, I mean, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, so the firewall receive the traffic which is encrypted traffic. In normal scenario, a firewall will not able to understand. Okay, so so in this scenario, what will happen? Your firewall need to uh, do decrypt. So you then only it can able to examine the what is the content inside, what is the traffic flow inside. So that and all. So decryption, SSL decryption has to be done to secure your environment in the best way. So that is also part of your EDU 210 paper. And global products, it's about VPN. So SSL VPN. Okay, SSL VPN. How to deploy your site, a remote VPN or a web VPN. You can say it's a remote VPN or web VPN or SSL VPN. Okay, so how to access your your organization network from the remote location with the different kind of different kind of network, not a standard network, so not a static networks. Okay, so dynamic network and remote location. From remote location, you can able to access your organization from in a secure way. Okay, so that is SSL VPN that we will discuss here. And then model 11, it is talk about the site to site VPN. Okay, so how to deploy secure communication in between one branch network to one branch to another branch, site one site to another site. So that we will discuss in model 11. Okay, so up to model 1 to model 11, all are it's talk about EDU. It is comes under EDU 210 there. So if you want to become a PCNSE certified engineer, then you should familiar, you should do hands-on with these 11 models. Okay. You will be able to go for a PCNSE certification. Suppose if you want to become a PCNSE certified engineer, then you need to focus Panorama, which is EDU 210 paper. So here, Panorama introduction, how to add your Palo Alto firewall in Panorama and Panorama templates. I mean, I previously mentioned that what is the templates and device groups, right? So how to deploy your Palo Alto with uh, high availability options and Palo Alto with log collector. How to use Panorama with the centralized log collector. That is also will be added here. Okay, so that will be discussed. Okay, and if you learn Panorama, that is comes under EDU 330, sorry, EDU 220 paper as per Palo Alto curriculum. Okay, now which is troubleshooting, which is talk about EDU 330 paper. So what are the troubleshooting tools and resources we have in Palo Alto? How to troubleshoot your any protocol or configuration? In what method we have to do it? What is the CLA tools we have? And packet flow, how to capture the packet while troubleshoot, and how to analyze the packet after catching after capture the packet, right? How to do troubleshoot with the inbound traffic and transmission traffic, right? And how to have if you have any hardware related issues, or if you are relay with the third party services connectivity to achieve the Palo Alto firewall feature, next generation firewall features. So how to connect, and if you have any issue, how to troubleshoot that services, that and all we will discuss in the EDU 330 paper. And any hardware related issues, how to manage that, how to reach the Palo Alto tag, and how to raise the ticket, that and all we'll discuss in the troubleshooting paper, guys. Okay. So everything I have clearly updated in that web link. So you can refer it, guys. Okay. So model 1, model 2, from model 1 to model 11, and as well as panorama and troubleshooting, everything I have included here. Okay. So that's why Palo Alto, we have a huge curriculum. So that's why Palo Alto start fully, it will take 8 weeks, 2 months to complete, because Palo Alto, we from this stage to advanced level, we are teaching. So which means all these three curriculum we are covering here as a one course. So that's why it is taking 2 weeks, sorry, 2 months to complete, guys. Okay. And after that, for FortiGate, FortiGate security, right? So introduction about the FortiGate firewall, uh, how to access your FortiGate firewall and initial configuration, and a security fabric. So what are the FortiGate products we have, Fortinet products we have, and how we can utilize that products to secure in your environment. So that and all you will see under FortiGate security fabric, and how to use your FortiGate firewall to create a policy and objects. Policy that and basic security policies without next generation firewall, which is like application control, URL filter, file blocking, data leakage protection and all. Okay. And after that, how to utilize the NAT. In FortiGate, we have a different kind of NAT. So the same source NAT, destination NAT, we can do it. And but that approach is different here. We call it as a policy-based NAT. Source NAT, we can do it in a two different method: policy-based NAT and central S NAT. So what is that and all we'll discuss later. Okay. And destination NAT, we call it here virtual IP and virtual IP group. So in a different scenario, we'll do that. So that we will discuss here. Everything included in our curriculum. Okay. And how to manage your firewall as administrator, admin user access, everything comes under module 5. Module 6, how to manage the logs and monitoring features in your FortiGate firewall. And then next generation fire, how to do SSL inspection, as well as how to manage the SSL certificates. So in terms of SSL VPN and then the SSL decryption and all that we'll discuss under certificate operations. And then web filter, just talk about the URL filter application. It's talk about the how to control or allow deny the traffic based on the application wise, right? So FortiGate also will support the micro application level control, but it's not that much effective comparatively Palo. Okay, and antivirus features and other IPS functions like anti-spyware, anti-malware, all other deep inspection features. Okay, and ESSL VPN. So don't think like only 12 models are there, because it is a two different paper, right? FortiGate security and FortiGate infrastructure. Some other features are comes under FortiGate infrastructure. So SSL VPN comes under the FortiGate security, but IPsec VPN comes under the FortiGate infrastructure paper. Okay, you can see that FortiGate infrastructure paper. So how to configure the routing protocol and in FortiGate firewall, and how to configure SD-WAN, how to utilize SD-WAN, and how virtual domains, right? So virtual domains. So this is nothing. How to split your physical hardware, single physical firewall as a multiple logical firewall, that we will discuss. Okay. That that is called virtual domains here, and how to deploy your Palo Alto firewall as a layer 2 firewall. Okay. And sorry, check FortiGate firewall. Okay. In Palo Alto, we set as a layer 2 function, layer 2 deployment. In in FortiGate also we call it as a layer 2 switch. We call it as a layer 2 switching firewall. Okay. So you can deploy as a layer 2 device with along with firewall function. Okay. And but virtual wire mode, HA mode and virtual wire mode is an additional feature which is given by Palo Alto. Okay. So and we have IPS VPN here, IPsec VPN here, and then Fortinet single sign-on. This is for user authentication. How to integrate Active Directory server with a user-based authentication. So if you want to do user-based authentication or any space, if you want to control the traffic based on the user or group of the users, like I want to allow some specific application and service access for the sales team, and some set up different application and service access for the technical team. So that we can achieve based on this FSSO agent authentication. Okay, so here we talk about the user-based authentication and high availability, active, passive mode, active mode. This which is for redundancy purpose, and then troubleshooting and how to deploy your firewall in a proxy mode, right? So that and that we'll discuss in the FortiGate infrastructure paper. Okay, so these two training which included in our curriculum as a single training program. So around module 1 to module 14. Module 15 is exam preparation. So module 14, we are covering all this. Okay. So let me break down each model. Each model 1, FortiGate security and platform, and model 2, model 3, firewall policies, model 4, NAT, firewall authentication and FSSO agent. This 1, 2, 3, 4, and then antivirus model 6, web filter, data leakage protection, and then SSL VPN under model 11 SSL VPN. Okay, so all this model 1 to 4 and 6, 7, 8, and model 11, 50, model 11, partially model 11, all are comes under the FortiGate security paper. Okay, security paper. And about model 5, user authentication FSSO agent, model 9, high availability, model 10, routing in with the FortiGate firewall, model 12, SD-WAN, model 13, VDOM, and then troubleshooting, right? So that and all comes under model 2, which is, I mean, these models are coming under FortiGate infra paper. Okay, so which means we included all the content with the two PEPs, two different training. We included as a single training to make you understand all the features in FortiGate. Okay, we made it as a single training program, and so you are purely able to go for a piece NSC 4. I mean, previously it is called as NSC 4. Now it is called FCP certification or FortiGate administration certification. You can appear this. Okay, so all this content covered in our curriculum. Okay, uh, so that you can refer, go to FortiGate and refer daily roadmap one by one. Everything will be included here. Okay, you can see that. Okay, and after that, in coming back to the checkpoint, as I said, CCSA and CCSE, the two type of certification, right? So see, if you look at the CCSA, so you are going to have some idea about what is checkpoint environment, what is the architecture, distributed. It is using the distributed architecture, and then I mean you can use standalone deployment and distributed deployment as well. So which means uh, two different architecture you can use it. Okay, so what is distributed deployment, what is standalone deployment, that you will understand under architecture, and you are aware what is for about the security consoles. Okay, so how to access your checkpoint firewall in the very first time, what is security manage, I mean security gateway, what is security manager, what is smart console, right? So these are all the elements of the architecture. So by using this, these are all the different products you can deploy as a different individual products, or you can sometimes you can deploy these two roles in the same hardware, and this is your console application. You can access your checkpoint firewall by using smart console application only. So when you learn about the architecture, that time you can able to understand what is management server, what is security gateway, what is smart console under. Okay, that you will learn under module 1, and then you have after that how to deploy. After deploy, you can deploy in a standalone or you can deploy it in a distributed method. After decide that, you can use your checkpoint firewall features like application control, URL filter, file blocking, data leakage, right? And then here you can see software blades, various type of blades applications, antivirus features, like threat features here. Okay, so how to deploy standalone or distributed deployment. After that, how to upgrade your licenses, patch update. I mean, how to apply the licenses and upgrade the licenses, and then how to access your checkpoint firewall very first time after knowing all these features. I mean, architecture features. What type of architecture deployment option you are going, standalone or distributed, and that after that only you can access your checkpoint firewall to activate that standalone role or distributed deployment options. Okay, whether you are going to deploy management role only for that hardware, or you are going to deploy gateway role as well, or gateway role only, right? So that and all you are going to decide. After that, when you're going to configure the basic security rule along with the internet access, the NAT has to be implemented. So NAT in Checkpoint we have a different kind of net, the same source net and destination net only we are doing it, but here that is implemented in a different way. We call it as the hide NAT and static manual NAT. Hide NAT, manual NAT. What is hide NAT? What is manual NAT? Actually, we call it as a auto NAT and manual NAT. So what is auto NAT and what is manual NAT? What hide NAT is nothing. It's actually path. Okay, and how to configure hide NAT in an automated way, how to configure hide NAT in a manual NAT way, manually, how to configure static NAT we used for destination NAT purpose. Okay, how to configure static NAT in manual way, in automated way, so that we can able to, I mean, that we will learn in this NAT module. Okay, and as well as other features like application control, URL filter, and your antivirus features under security events and threat extraction, threat emulations, right? So, so here comes your antivirus features and anti-malware features, spyware features, all are comes under this threat extraction and threat emulation features. Okay, and how to allow users based on the user based authentication, based on the group of people or some specific people, right? So based on their need, we can allow based on a particular team or particular member with the particular only specific application, specific service access or specific IP, so that we can able to implement. Okay, the smart console, it's just an application to access your GUI of Gaia operating system or GUI of your checkpoint file. Okay, so that and all you are going to learn in this CCSE. If you look at that, there is no VPN topic. Okay, there is no operating system upgradations, patch update. There is no routing object, right? So routing, there is no high availability concept. That and all they added in the next level of certification, which is called CCSE. So let me show you the CCSE certification. If you look at that, how to upgrade your Gaia operating system and migrate your management role, management device with a normal method with a high availability redundancy protocol with, and how to upgrade your gateways. So management is a different. If you know about the architecture, then only you can able to understand what is the management device and what is a security gateway device. The security gateway device, which will act like a firewall, actual device will take control and block the traffic, monitor the traffic. Management device will manage your policy and object and services. Okay, you are going to create a policy on this device, not in your gateway. But based on this, whatever the policy you have created in this device, that will be deployed via your management server to gateway, and remain the policy will be stored in your management server, not in your gateway. Okay, so in that scenario, if you are going to do any patch update, anything in your security gateway, how to do upgrade, how to license that, right? And then how to do maintenance your checkpoint Gaia operating system, and and how to configure the security policies in a different layered wise policies. Okay, we can able to create policies, and we can able to activate the next generation firewall features in a different method. So separately, individually for each and every functions, we can activate or we can deactivate manually in checkpoint. Not other firewalls are already activated. Okay, so you can't able to disable that features. If you want, you can apply that features in your policy, but that feature is already pre-enabled. But in checkpoint, the application control features, antivirus features, VPN feature, right? And then thread extraction features, like, right? So all these features we called here, we call it as a software blade, as a software individual software application bundles. Okay, so you need to manually enable it. So how to manage that software blades, that and all, you will see that software blades we will manage, we'll see in a CCSA itself, and how to manage that entire blades additionally with some extra features. So we will see here. Okay, and we can able to deploy the policy in a layer by layer. Okay, so you can deploy traditional policies. You can deploy separately the layer 7 policy separately, or you can include main under main policy. You can include all the policies, or you can separately add your traditional policies separately, and then next generation firewall policies separately. So that is called a layered approach. So that and all we will discuss in PCNSE curriculum, sorry, CCSE curriculum. And as I mentioned here, you can see that VPN, SSL VPN, and clustering, high availability. What is active passive method and active method? Okay, so that high availability and advanced monitoring features. So how to monitor your firewall uh, from a management server and normally in traditional method, and as well as how to use the advanced tools to manage and troubleshoot the firewall. Okay, so that we will discuss in CCSE topic, guys. Okay, so let me show you the breakdowns in our the same models, all the model which is covered in CCS and CCSE in our curriculum. So we'll go to checkpoint and go to full schedule. You can see week one CCSA foundations, where you are going to learn about the introduction about the checkpoint and architecture basics, and your day two, what is security management server, what is security gateway, uh, and then how to deploy that in your lab, and what is standalone deployment, and what is distributed deployment. Everything we will discuss here itself in the week one itself, and how to configure. I mean, how to take a backup and how to manage your configuration files, how to take a backup and snapshot, and that and all we'll see. Okay, in week two, we will discuss, we will start to create our first security policies, and we will start, while create a security policy, we will start to manage our software blades like application control, URL filter, file blocking, IPS, right, thread emulation, thread extraction, right? And then the VPN function. So the one by one, we will start to manage the software blades, and we will start to create a policy in a main security policy and additional sub-layer policies that are like this we'll start to learn in a week one and week two. And week three, we will start. We will start with the internet access. So how to configure NAT in a static method, static NAT, hide NAT, and auto NAT, and then manual and how to configure manually, how to configure automated NAT, how to use automated NAT, right? And how to troubleshoot that if you are having any issue that NAT side. Okay, so how to troubleshoot that and I will see. And model three, I mean week three itself, we'll start with application control, URL filter. Okay, so that one of the next generation firewalls, that software blade we'll enable individually, and we'll start to use that feature. And then, as I mentioned, threat prevention, so anti-bot and thread extraction, thread emulation, everything we will discuss here. Okay, so week one, I'll give you what are the software blades, introduction about the software blades, and that time we will discuss about this software blade information, what we'll have inside that, how to activate that. But the real features we will apply on the week three and week four. Okay, and after implement all your next generation firewall features, and we'll go with the VPNs, how to configure site-to-site VPN between the two checkpoint firewalls, and how to configure the SSL VPN, and how to configure your high availability. Okay, high availability, active mode, active passive mode, and active passive mode. We know one will be inactive, one will be in a redundancy. I mean, listen mode to as a backup. In active mode in checkpoint, we have a active. We have like multicast mode, unicast mode. So in unicast mode, it will share 50-50 workload. In multicast mode, sorry, in multicast mode, it will use 50-50 workload. Sorry, once again, I'm getting that. Sorry, guys. So in unicast mode, it will use 50-50 percentage of load sharing. But when you go for a multicast mode, so one will share, you can reduce. One device will share the 30% of the load, one device will share the 70% of the load. So this why we are it is happening like this, that and all we'll discuss in that high availability clustering configuration. Okay. So all firewalls we will discuss active, passive deploy deployment, which is used in a real-time scenario. Okay, and how to configure, how to manage your logs, and how to take a report, how to analyze the traffic. So how to troubleshoot your backend wise, right? How to monitor everything. We'll discuss in this last week. Okay, so this is the day by day schedule for all these three firewalls curriculum, guys. Okay, and last but not least, so after completion of, especially for this batch students, after completion of these three firewalls, okay, those who are going to enroll for these 3-in-1 firewall, you guys will get one 15 days live session for the security architect program, firewall security architect program, right? So it's a 10 days, 10 live sessions where we are going to discuss about uh, real-time use cases, how to manage multiple vendor firewall. So how to, in a real-time projects, one organization right now they will use a ASA or Palo Alto, and they want to migrate from Palo Alto to FortiGate, or ASA to FortiGate, or ASA to Palo Alto. So with their existing configuration, how to do that migration with a different vendors. So that this is the real-time challenging task, and this is frequently, I mean, in a real-time scenario and organizations, it is happening. The engineers are needed. Okay, so this is the major task they will do it. Okay, so that we will discuss here, and how to communicate with the multiple vendor for, let's say, some organization, they will have a Palo Alto in Palo Alto or checkpoint in their headquarters. In main in their branch offices, they will use FortiGate for the budget purpose and for the low data handling in their branch offices. So for that purpose, they will use a different vendor product. So in that case, how to deploy site-to-site VPN between the two different vendors. So that we will discuss interoperability. Okay, and then sometimes in a data center, they will merge multiple physical single firewalls. Okay, they will merge as a single hardware. They will deploy existing, let's say some organization have, so some data center have 100 clients or small scale clients. Okay, that 100 clients have, they need to provide 100 dedicated firewalls. Okay, instead of that, they need to spend a lot of money for the licensing hardware. So instead of that, they can just invest little heavy to get a heavy hardware, and they can use this single hardware and logically split as a multiple logical firewalls, and you can use that logical firewalls to deploy to secure that client servers, client networks, individual clients, and individual projects they can deploy. So that is uh, multi-tenancy architecture. So where they are going to manage with the single physical firewall, where they are going to manage multiple infrastructures. Okay, so this is happening in a real time. So that we will discuss how in that scenario how to prepare for that, how to I mean reduce your normal small firewalls as and deploy all these small firewalls as a all small physical firewalls we can reduce and we can deploy into the logical firewalls. How to do that? How to allocate the resources for logically with each and every logical firewalls with the limited resources like CPU, RAM, number of ports, right? So how to plan that, how to do it in a real-time scenario, that everything we'll discuss here. So and then in a real-time scenario, some organization, not some organization, most of the organization now they are already migrated. They have a hybrid network. right? So they have a cloud, they have a server in a cloud, and they have an internal on-premises network as well, right? On-premises network as well. So in on-premises in their organization, they have a Palo Alto, and to secure their cloud server, they need to deploy on Palo Alto firewall or FortiGate firewall there, and then that cloud server has to be communicated with your on-premises network. So you need to integrate your on-premises firewall to cloud firewall. So cloud integration you have to do it. So that how to do it that we will discuss here. Okay, with the BGP protocol, right? So with a dual ISP failover, so that and all we'll discuss here, and then SD-WAN implementation with along with SD-WAN implementation with the multiple branches offices with the different vendor products too. Okay, so that and all how to implement and what you have to how to plan it, how to document that, right? So how to prepare yourself to do that, that we will discuss. And we in a real-time scenario, they are going to handling the firewall configuration, n number of firewalls, okay, and then they are going to configure it, they are going to enable the services. So everything they will do it not manual. Okay, they also need automated thing. So it's a routing protocol, Lovikan. Okay, so one of the dynamic routing protocol which is widely used in the organization. Border gateway protocol. It is called as border gateway protocol. Okay, which is dynamic routing protocol. Okay, so uh, after that, and how to automate your firewall configuration. How to configure 100 policies in a simultaneously within a seconds, right? So how to configure 100 how to configure 100 objects within a few click, right? So that and all automatic way, how to do that, that and all we'll discuss in this architecture program. Okay, and if you have a zero tolerance network access, which means so industry will not will not secure, I mean, will not trust zero trust. Actually, this is a zero trust network access. Okay, so which means industry will use the approach. They will not trust their own internal network itself. Okay, so they will have to segmentize properly, and they need to approach that feature and the implementation. Okay, so what is zero trust network access implementation? Now industry is moving on this type of architecture. So what is that? How to implement that? That and all we'll discuss here. Okay, and along with a high availability multi-vendor scenario, let's say in my headquarters, as I mentioned, that headquarters will have a Palo Alto with high availability, and branch offices with FortiGate with a high availability implementation. Okay, how to cross communicate with them. Okay, that we will discuss and in the session. Okay, and if you are having how to troubleshoot the real-time scenario based on we'll take one capstone project with the real-time scenario, and we will discuss about the this troubleshooting approach, hardware offloading, and then BGP flop. So and this kind of things we will discuss if we have time. I'll try to add more things here. Okay. So this will, what is the purpose of giving this course is I want to make you, since you guys are going to have a knowledge about all these three firewalls, along with this, I mean, real-time approach. So that you are going to learn all these firewall features to implement security in your network. In a real time, it's not just having a configuration and with a single sorry. So that and all you need to know, and how they will use to